Welcome to my garden. I'm at the community garden in Huntington Beach, and I have this particular garden, A12. I'm going to show you a tour of what I got going on in the garden this year. It's May 29th, 2020, and my garden fence. Jim wants to know how I manage the gate here. So I've got this lattice that has a gate that slides in and out, and a couple of stakes that allow me to secure it into some PVC pipes set into the ground. This year I've taken on the second garden, A11, and I have a similar kind of gate opening into this area here with a section of fence that slides in and out of the groove here, and I set it over to the side. I'm going to start over here because I'm really excited. I've got this garden plot prepared this year, and it's a lot of work putting it together, getting all the soil prepared. This year I planted seeds for most of the items in my garden, and one of the things I'm really excited about is the spaghetti squash. I have maybe 6 plants growing here on these wooden trellises, and I picked the first one of them today, and we'll see whether they're ready to go. I've got a lot of fruit on this one, and they're pretty big, so we'll see how it goes. Now Bill gave me a pumpkin plant, and I have that in the corner here. They take up a lot of space. I'm trying to decide whether I wanted to let it get carried away or just whether I wanted to just plant one or grow 1 or 2 pumpkins. It's already got one right there that's probably about, not quite the size of a basketball, but it's going to be pretty big. And then there's a little baby in there. I might cut that one back so that I don't really need a lot of pumpkins. And then along the fence here I have some sweet peas coming on. They'll hopefully grow up these stakes and fill up the back fence with beautiful color. And the other thing I grew with seeds were cucumbers, and they produced fruit real quick, and I'm not quite sure what they're going to do for me the rest of the season. Some of them seem to be doing pretty good. I think that once the weather gets hot it'll do really well, but I've got a couple of buds on here. Pam gave me 2 tomato plants that she got from Rogers Gardens, and I'm excited to see how they come out. I've got a little bit of fruit coming on into this one. They are striped. Don't know exactly what it's going to come up with, but we'll see. And then I'm excited about this guy here. He's a volunteer from this garden. Now this plot has sat empty for a couple of years, and last year a tomato plant grew as a volunteer and produced the best tomatoes that I had out of the garden. I had a couple plants in my next plot that didn't do much of anything, and compared to those tomatoes, they were the best. So when a volunteer came up, I said, okay, let's take it. Now the rest of the things I have over here are green beans. These are Kentucky pole beans, and they are from seeds that I saved from a couple of years ago, and they're doing really well. I'm going to have probably more green beans than I know what to do with. I bought some green beans called Princess Di, and they interested me because they have a blossom that's red. They said like lipstick. None of them are blooming yet, but we'll be sure to take a picture of those when they do. And that's it for this garden. I have a volunteer tomato plant. I'll walk over here and show you another. If it's a sister of this one, then I'm anxious to save it, but I really don't know where I'm going to put it just yet. But it volunteered to come up right about here between the pumpkin and the spaghetti squash, and I'll find a home for it and see how it does. Alright, so there's my pumpkin again, and a couple more blooms. Okay. Now this is a beet. Now I was hoping that the Orange County Fair would allow me to enter this as one of the largest beet competition, because look how big this guy is. Can you see? A little bit too big to eat, but I might end up just pulling it out and using the space for my volunteer tomato. I don't know. Over here I planted some flowers, and I've got another volunteer of dill back here. Bye, Bill. I'm giving Jimmy a tour of my garden. Enjoy your day. All right, so I've got, these are zinnias that I'm planting. I added a lot of nice color. And in the back here, there's another volunteer. You know what that is? Mama would be proud. It's a nice dill plant. Once it blossoms, I'm going to save the crowns and make some of that wonderful salmon. All right, got the zinnias going here. I planted those from seeds. Also from seeds, I have these beets and shallots. Shallots are gourmet style onions. And then I planted, these are not from my own seedlings, but I bought a couple of different peppers. I got jalapeno, ancho, and bell peppers. They're looking for some nice good heat before they start up. And then the last additions to the garden are a couple of, let's see, tomatillos. You have to have 2 tomatillos. And this particular one under the basket's not looking real happy, but I have a feeling that it's starting to come on. It wasn't really the best, but I had to buy what they had at the store. Tomatillos are sometimes hard to find, and I love them. But you have to have 2, so they pollinate. And then I have an eggplant here. And look what I have back in the corner, another volunteer. So I have to find a place to put them. And then let's take a nice view again of the A11. I do have some space for a couple of those volunteers, but I'm not quite sure where I want to put them. And then a couple of things that were left over. This beautiful carnation plant, that's a perennial, keeps coming back year after year. And a couple of these herbs. This big bushy one is a tarragon, and then in the back is an oregano. They add a nice aroma. And this guy here is a Swiss chard. It looks like it's got a little bit of a disease, so I'm going to yank it out. That might be a good place for the tomato. Well, I guess I know what I'm going to be doing next time I come to the garden. Someone gave me that, but I really don't care for Swiss chard that much. Again, there's the shallots and the beets and the flowers. Oh, one more volunteer came up. This snapdragon. I transplanted it over there, but that's why it looks a little unhappy, but we'll see. They're pretty strong and hardy. It'll come back. And then the ground cover here is interesting. It's an aromatic ornamental oregano. So it's I put in a couple plugs between the stepping stones. Hopefully it'll fill in, and if it does, I'll continue doing that. Okay, so that is Annette's Garden 2020, and we'll take another view here. Spaghetti squash, tomatoes in the back, green beans. There's my bench ready for the umbrella. Hasn't been real hot today. Herbs and shallots and beets, flowers, and another huge beet. That probably goes next week too. Anyway, thanks for coming. We'll see you soon.